Hello and welcome to this 19th session on Davinci Resolve and our 6th session on color grading. Now, in this session, we are going to do our corrective color grading second type, that is the secondary grading. In our previous session, we did it using masking, and this time we are going to do it using keying. So, to begin with, launch Davinci Resolve and then open your color video, that is this color page underscore video part 1 file, double click to open it. Now, in this project we have color graded almost all the files and we are left with this last file. Let us select this 8th clip here and let us preview this clip. If you play and see the clip, this is nothing but a sea, and on the sea you are seeing an aeroplane flying, and as it flies you can now see here, and here you have many flamingos moving in the sea. Okay, so this is the clip that we have, and here our task is to convert this green sea into a blue sea. We want this water to turn to blue. We want only the water color to be changed and not this plain or flamingos color. Now, in this case, if we try to use masking, then we have to mask this aeroplane, all these flamingos, and then we have to use the tracker and track it. It is a very complicated process. So, instead of that, in this case, when you compare this image, you can see that you have a single color area, almost green color area, and the place where you doesn't want to do or you want to isolate, that is this plain and flamingos are of totally a different color. So, in this case, the best way to do our secondary editing is by using the keying. And actually in this clip, you are already provided with a node here, and this node already is color graded with color balance. So, if you select this node and if you just switch it off and switch it on, you can see the difference. See, this is, if you switch off this color grading, you can see it appears very flat. The clouds are not visible, but if I switch it on, you can see the clouds visible. The only correction that has been done here is actually we have added one, that is slight change in the curve. See, we have edited this curve and we have added this slight S shape to increase the contrastness. Okay. So, we are now going to work with this clip. So, let us rewind it to the beginning. Okay. Now, to begin with, let us start by creating a new node. So, you already know, press Alt plus S on the keyboard or just right click here, go to add node and click on add serial. Right click and add a node label, and I am now going to call this as blue water. So, this is the blue water, the second node, and in this node we are now going to make the selection using keying, and to make the selection using keying, we are now going to use the qualifier tab. This is the third tab here. So, when I click on the qualifier, see, now I have selected the qualifier tab, and in the qualifier tab, if you see here, you basically have hue, saturation and luminance. You can make the selection based on hue, based on saturation and based on luminance. So, now to start with, I will see that this is enabled here, qualifier. You bring the mouse over here and click anywhere here. So, I will just click here to pick up the sample color. So, and I will again click here, okay, and now you can see as soon as I clicked it, you can see I have one hue variation, saturation and luminance. So, what I will do is I will reset this again, and then I am now going to drag something like this. I will bring over here, I will move it to this area till here, so that I make all this area selected, and I am going to release the mouse. Now, if I click on highlight, you can see almost all area is selected, and now if I click on black, it is almost selected, but I have some areas that have not been yet selected. If I click directly, all my previous selection will go away and a new selection will start. But right now, I want to add some areas over here to my selection. So, then what I can do is, I can come to qualifier, and in qualifier you have one plus tool here. Click on this plus tool, and now if I drag it wherever I am drawing, those areas will get added to the selection. And even here I will select some of the points here at this corner. Okay, I will select this corner. Okay, that is almost fine, I think. I will also select this corner. Okay, so these areas has become very short, that is this has reduced. So, what I can do is I can come here and slightly vary this range. So, what I will do is I will just move this center slightly to the right like this. Okay, I will move it to somewhere around see, the center point is moved to approximately 57.4, and this width what I am seeing, I will slightly reduce it to around 15.5, and softness let us leave it at 3.2. Now, this in the low value I will slightly move it to around 0.9, and in the high area I will see I can just move it like this by values. See, this is low area and this is high area, and then similarly in luminance also I will set the low area to around 47.6, and high area I will slightly reduce it to around say 65. I will make it approximately see around 65. Okay. Now, here when you are in this black mode, I will just roll the mouse a little, and sometimes what happens is I will press the middle mouse and pan down, and I will zoom to the aircraft, and inside the aircraft you are seeing some black spots which has got selected. So, I want this entire area to be pitch black, and this I can control it by using this matte finesse settings that you see in the qualifier. So, now here in the qualifier I come here, and first thing is denoise. This is called as pre-filter. I am going to just drag it a little like this, so that this is slightly, some of the noises are removed. I will just zoom out, press middle mouse and see this flamingos. Okay, some of the noise are removed. Then I am going to set this, there are some patches here. To remove it, I will use clean black, and I am going to move it to around 1.2, and then to clean the white. So, some patches you see on the white area. So, I will move the white area and set it to around something like 2.7. Okay, so this appears to be fine. Now, this selection for me appears to be fine. Okay, so we have selected only the sky area, eliminating the aeroplane and the flamingos. And now we are ready with our color grading. Now to start with the color grading, I will switch off this highlight mode and I will just zoom out and I will see the full image. Now to make this green screen, that is green sea blue, there are multiple ways of doing this color grading. One thing is I can go and increase the gain towards blue, or I can change the hue, but there are multiple ways of making this correction, but I am now going to show you the way you can do it, which can be achieved with speed. So when you are doing color grading, you want to achieve some result in the fastest way possible with minimum number of steps. So for this, what we are now going to do is, we are not going to work with the color wheels, but we will come to the curves. Now coming to the curve, the color I want to add here is blue. So what I will now do is, I will unlink this and I will enable only the blue channel. And with blue channel enabled, you have this low value, that is the blue which is representing 0 value. I am slightly going to drag it up, and as I drag, you can see the sea getting bluish. I will drag it somewhere to this point, that is to this second line here in the graph. If I drag it full to the top, you can see it turns dark blue. You can see the entire thing has turned dark blue. And if I move it down, you can see you choose the right spot over here, and I want to use it at the second graph level over here. So with this adjustment done, now let us fine tune this adjustment a little more. Now for this adjustment, I will just zoom it a little and I see the that is the sea. The sea appears to be more saturated. So let us reduce the saturation level, and for this I am going to come to this color wheels, and below you have the saturation. I am going to drag it back and you can see the saturation level decreasing, and I will set it something in the range of around 45. Okay. Then you have the hue control. Now this blue, I can bring in a slight change in the blue by changing the hue. Say for example, if I drag this hue too much to the left, it turns reddish. If I move it too much to the right, it will turn greenish. I will slightly, from 50, I will slightly increase it to around 54.80. Okay, this appears to be fine. So now I will just play it once and see. Okay, fine. Now this C appears to be correct. I will stop the playback. Okay, fine. Now the C area is fine, but one problem that has happened is, if I just move it to the end, you are seeing the flamingos here. Now temporarily select this blue water node and switch it off, and now you can see that this flamingos has a small amount of orange or red tint around it, but when I did the color grading, it has got removed. So now I have to bring it back by doing some color grading to this flamingos. So now how are we going to select this flamingos? Well, we need not do any new selection for this. We have already done the selection and eliminated the water, and if you come here to the highlight mode, you can see that in black and white mode we already have eliminated complete sea, and we have only the flamingo except flamingo and the aeroplane. All other things have already been selected. Now, to select only the flamingo, what I have to do is, I need not do anything repeated. I will just disable this highlight. I will come to the nodes, and in the node now, till now we used to press Alt S and we used to simply add one additional node. But if I right click here and come to add node, apart from add serial and add serial before, which we added before, apart from that you have another 3 options: add parallel, add layer and add outside, and this time I am going to choose this add outside. So, when I click on add outside, now what happens is, if I select this and if I enable the highlight mode, you can now see the difference. See, if I disable if I come to this node, you see only the sea area is selected, and here the entire selection, when I used add node outside, when I used it, the selection has got inverted. Now, except C, everything is selected. So, this has made the selection of flamingo very easy for me. So, with this done, say for example, that is why in all the other nodes you were only seeing one line running, but here between blue water and the third one. So, for this third one, I will right click and I will also add a label, and I will call this as flamingos. Okay. And here you can see a new line added in blue, because we are using the data of selection from the blue water, and here we are inverting it. Now, if I want to select only the flamingos, what I have to do? I have to just eliminate this aeroplane. Now, for this, what we are now going to do is, now the job that I have to do is, I have to eliminate this aeroplane. So, for this I will disable highlight mode. Now, in the flamingos node selected, I will move into the power windows, and going into the power windows now, I will select this power windows, that is the ellipse tool. Okay. So, now I have added an elliptical shape here. I will move it and place it exactly over the aircraft over here. I have moved it to the last frame, and in the last frame I am seeing that this mask is covering the aircraft. See that this is not covering any of the flamingos. So, once it is touched, but this is an animated sequence. Now, if I rewind it, you can see the aircraft moving out. See, the aircraft is moving out. See, actually here I need not even do any animation. What I have to do is, this is the final position of aircraft, and for this end position I will just zoom out a little, and if required I will just drag it a little like this and adjust it here. If I adjust it at this point, see, now as it is moving, I have to keep this aircraft within this circle. See, because actually I can do the tracking and move it, but that is not required here, because the aircraft is within this circle throughout its animation. It is not leaving. See, so in this way I have now masked this aircraft. So, once I have masked this like this, now if I come and enable highlight, you can now see in flamingos, flamingos is disconnected or deselected, and you have only the aircraft selected. You can now see only the aircraft is selected. But for me, except aircraft, I want everything to be selected. Means it's very simple. I have to reverse this selection. How to reverse the selection? Come to power windows, and here you have an option to reverse the selection. So, when you click on this icon, now you can see I will disable this, I will off the power windows, and now you can see only the flamingos are selected and the aeroplane is not selected. So, this way we were able to quickly make a selection of only flamingos, eliminating the aircraft. Now, with the selection done, I will switch off the highlight mode and let us start our grading. I will just zoom this a little. If required, I will just close these clips and make the window bigger. With middle mouse pressed, I will just pan it a little, and here for this flamingos, I am going to come into the color wheels, and in the gain, I am just going to drag it a little to the right towards the pink, and as I drag, you can see it is turning pinkish. So, here actually the saturation has to be reduced, but as of now I am not going to reduce the saturation, because if I zoom it out and if I just press Shift plus Z to fit the window to the screen. See, remember the keyboard shortcut is Shift plus Z. And now with this selection done, if I now rewind this and if I play it, you can now see we have achieved our effect. See, you are seeing the blue water and flamingos have that pink tint, and since flamingos comes for a very few frames, I will leave it highly saturated. Okay. So, with this I will now go to file and I will also save this project. So, with this we are going to conclude our first set of color grading lessons. So, in this 6 modules we have learned the basics of color grading. From our next session we are going to discuss about some advanced color grading techniques. So, for that let us meet in our next session. Thank you.